The gym was alive with echoes, sneakers squeaking, balls thudding, shouts of "switch" bouncing off the walls. It smelled like sweat and pine-scented floor wax. Ridgepoint High's varsity team was deep into their final scrimmage before playoffs. At the center of it all, Jalen Price. At 17, Jalen wasn't just the team's captain, he was its soul. 6'2", wiry strong, calm under pressure, and always 2 moves ahead. He'd earned the nickname the Anchor not just because he held the team down, but because he held them together. Today's scrimmage ended with a buzzer-beating step-back 3 from Jalen. The gym erupted in applause. Coach Danner gave a short, proud clap from the sidelines before turning away. "Price, office." "Now," he said without looking back. The moment sliced through Jalen's adrenaline rush. Something in the coach's voice, it wasn't praise. It wasn't even normal. His teammates were still laughing, hyped from the scrimmage. But Jalen felt the air shift. Coach Danner's office was cold and clinical. 3 faded plaques on the wall, a worn leather chair, a desk stacked with scouting reports. The door clicked shut behind Jalen. "Sit down," Danner said, not making eye contact. Jalen obeyed, confusion tightening his chest. "I'm gonna be straight with you," Danner said, clearing his throat. "You're off the team." Effective immediately. The silence that followed was unnatural, empty, loud. "What?" Jalen blinked, leaning forward. "Coach, what did I do?" Danner's jaw locked. "This came from higher up. There was an incident. I'm not authorized to disclose details, but I have to let you go." "An incident?" Jalen repeated, stunned. "I didn't do anything. You know me." "I do," Danner said, softer now. "But this isn't my call." Jalen stood, fists clenching. "Then whose is it?" "I deserve to know." The coach looked away. "I'm sorry, Jalen. I truly am." Jalen opened the door in a daze. The team was still in the gym, gathering water bottles and towels. They went quiet when they saw his face. He walked out, head down, eyes burning. His entire world just ended, and no one would even tell him why. The Price family dinner table had always been loud, filled with laughter, debate, the clatter of silverware. But that night, it was different. Yvette Price passed the mashed potatoes to her husband, Marcus, who used to coach youth basketball. Their younger daughter, Kayla, poked at her broccoli, trying to break the tension. Jalen sat stiff, barely touching his plate. "What happened?" Marcus finally asked. His voice was low but firm. "I told you," Jalen muttered. "They cut me." No reason given. "That doesn't make sense," Yvette said, voice tight. "You're the top scorer. No suspensions, no attitude issues. This has to be a mistake." "I said I don't know." Jalen's voice cracked. They told me I was out. That's all." Marcus looked down at his plate, then back at his son. "You sure there's nothing you're hiding, son?" The question sliced deep. "No. I didn't do anything wrong." Silence. Kayla looked between them with wide eyes. Yvette tried to keep the peace. "Maybe it's just temporary." "A misunderstanding." "It's not," Jalen said, pushing back from the table. "They made that clear." Marcus stood too. "So, what are you gonna do? Quit? Hide? This is when you fight." "Fight what?" Jalen snapped. A decision I don't understand? A rumor no one will name. You're not the only one who loses, Jalen, Marcus shot back. We've worked for this. Your scholarships, your future. That's not mine anymore, is it? Jalen's voice broke as he turned away. It was yours. And then he was gone out the front door into the cold. A vet called after him, but he didn't stop. Jalen's room used to be a shrine to the game. Photos of NBA stars, newspaper clippings of Rich Point wins, medals and trophies lined across the shelf. That night, one by one, he pulled them down. The Jordan poster came off the wall first, then the signed team photo from the state quarterfinals. His highlight videos, every dunk, assist, and buzzer beater, were deleted from his phone in silence. Each click felt like a funeral bell. He didn't cry. He couldn't. Days blurred together. He skipped practices, ignored messages, let calls go to voicemail. His friends, confused and uncertain, slowly stopped reaching out. At school, he was a ghost. People looked at him like he had a scarlet letter stitched into his hoodie. The thing that hurt most? No one asked. Not the principal, not his teammates. Not even Coach Danner. A week passed. Then two. One night, well after midnight, he got up, grabbed his old ball, and slipped out the back door. The neighborhood park court sat under a flickering floodlight. The pavement was cracked, the net half-torn. It was perfect. He dribbled. Once, then again, then a crossover. He started moving, slowly at first. The rhythm came back, muscle memory refusing to die. Jumper, swish, layup, swish, fadeaway, rim. Hours passed. He wasn't playing for scouts. Not for a title. Not even for redemption. He played because even with everything gone, basketball still felt like home. Under that busted light, breath fogging in the air, Jalen let the rhythm of the ball drown out everything else. And for a moment, he forgot the pain. Spring came slow that year. The snow melted, but the frost in Jalen's chest didn't. He stopped waiting for apologies, for explanations, for rescue. Instead, he got up at 5 a.m. and ran. Not for anyone, just to prove he could still move. Every morning, he sprinted Ridgepoint's hills, counting breaths, ignoring pain. Every night, he practiced alone on cracked courts and frozen driveways. Sometimes, when it rained, he practiced anyway. He'd play till his fingers went numb. He bought a second-hand weight set off a neighbor, set it up in the garage, taught himself drills from YouTube, broke down his old game film, and rewrote everything: his footwork, his shot form, even his mental cues. This wasn't the same Jalen who played for applause. This Jalen was quieter, meaner, sharper. At the same time, something in him started to change. The obsession burned not for revenge, but for clarity. He wasn't chasing someone else's vision of him. He was building his own. No crowds, no trophies, just breath and grit and a ball. Across town, Coach Danner sat at his desk long past midnight, the Ridgepoint team's losing streak playing on repeat in his mind. 3 games in a row. The boys looked lost. No heart. He opened a file drawer and pulled out the disciplinary report, still sealed, still marked confidential. He hadn't wanted it, hadn't asked for it. But the administration was clear. A player tested positive for THC during a routine check. Star forward. Son of a school board member. The story could never go public. So they made a deal. And Jalen, loyal, silent, selfless, offered to take the fall. "I'm not throwing my teammate under the bus," Jalen had said. "Jalen," Danner had pleaded, "you're sacrificing everything." Jalen just shrugged. Then maybe it wasn't really mine. And that was it. The kid walked away. Coach Danner had justified it as saving the team. But as he looked at the empty gym photos now, he saw what it really cost. He didn't just lose his captain. He lost his compass. He turned off the light and sat in the dark, hoping forgiveness would somehow find its way to him. It started with whispers. Someone saw a tall kid dominating the courts at Kingsfield Park. "He's playing different," a local said. "Like he's got nothing left to lose." Soon, pickup games became performances. Jalen never asked to play, just walked in, sized up the rim, and went to work. People started recording, posting clips online. Step backs, no-look passes, lockdown defense. But Jalen didn't smile. Not once. Then one day, after he finished carving up a full court, a man in a red jacket approached him with a clipboard and calm eyes. Name's Ellis Rhodes, recruiter for Eastview College. Jalen froze. "I'm not interested." "I've seen a lot of kids in pain," Rhodes said. "They usually run from the game. You ran toward it." "I'm not who you think I am." Rhodes nodded. "Doesn't matter who I think you are. What matters is who you're becoming." He handed Jalen a card. "We've got open tryouts in 3 months. You'll be ready." Jalen didn't respond. That night, he sat on the park bench long after everyone left, watching the rim sway in the wind. Was he ready to be seen again? The snow returned in March. Jalen was leaving school when he saw the figure waiting by a rust-colored sedan, hands deep in pockets, coat zipped up high. Coach Danner. Jalen froze. "I heard you've been lighting it up at Kingsfield," Danner said, trying for casual. Jalen said nothing. "We lost Devin to a wrist fracture," Danner continued. "Semifinals are in 4 days. We're down leadership. We're down grit." He paused, the wind whipping between them. "I was wrong, Jalen. You didn't deserve what happened. I should have fought harder for you." Jalen's face didn't flinch. "So you want me back now that you're desperate?" "No," Danner said. "I want you back because this team was never right without you." Jalen turned away. "I'm not coming back for them," he said quietly. A long silence. Then he turned back, eyes steady. "I'll come back for me." Game night at Ridgepoint High was electric. The gym buzzed with anxious energy, bleachers packed, student section chanting, lights burning bright above polished floors. But all that noise faded as Jalen stepped onto the hardwood again. It had been nearly 4 months since he last wore the Ridgepoint jersey. It felt foreign now, heavier, almost. His name stitched across the back like a ghost of who he used to be. As he laced his shoes, the other players shot uneasy glances. Some murmured greetings, some looked away. It didn't matter. He wasn't here to earn their comfort. Coach Danner approached quietly. "They'll follow you, but only if you're still leading." Jalen nodded. The buzzer sounded. First quarter was rough. Missed rotations, sloppy passes, nerves. But in the second, something shifted. Jalen made a hard cut, received a bullet pass, spun off a defender, and banked it in with contact. One. He didn't yell, didn't flex. He just looked to the bench and pointed once, simple, firm. Let's go. By the third quarter, the momentum was real. The crowd roared. Rich Point surged. And in the fourth, with the score tied, Jalen stole the ball, raced coast to coast, and finished with a reverse layup that brought the gym to its feet. Time ran out. Victory. Jalen stood still in the center of the court, soaking in the moment, not because they won, but because he'd reclaimed the game on his own terms. 2 days later, Jalen sat in the principal's office, not as a suspect, but a guest. Principal Harrington folded his hands on the desk. Coach Danner stood beside him. "We owe you the truth," Harrington said. "What happened this fall wasn't just wrong. It was unjust." Coach Danner stepped forward, voice heavy. "When the administration threatened to suspend the team unless someone took the fall, you stepped up. I let you. I should have said no." Jalen's jaw tightened. "It was easier to protect the system," the principal added, "than to protect a student. We failed you." "Why now?" Jalen asked. "Because it's not just about winning anymore," Danner said. "It's about integrity." There was a pause. "Your record's been cleared," Harrington continued. "We'll issue a public statement, and we'll be nominating you for the District Sportsmanship Award." Jalen blinked. Sportsmanship. Harrington smiled. Sometimes the real champions aren't the loudest ones. Jalen left the office with no balloons, no applause, but a weight finally lifted from his chest. Eastview College's gym was sleek and modern, state-of-the-art floors, digital scoreboards, professional-grade lighting. The tryout roster was stacked with talent, players from powerhouse prep schools, kids with agents and full highlight reels. But Jalen didn't flinch. He wore a plain black tee, no name on the back, and stepped onto the court like it was a familiar dream. The drills were fast, grueling. He ran full-speed suicides, hit mid-range shots with surgical rhythm, and picked apart defenses in the scrimmage with reads that stunned the scouts. He wasn't the flashiest player there, but he was the one no one could ignore. At the end of the day, Ellis Rhodes walked over. "You didn't come here to impress us," he said. "You came here to show us who you are." Jalen nodded. "You're getting the offer. Full ride." Jalen stood silent, processing. But only Rhodes added, "If you still love this game, not the crowd, not the lights, the game." Jalen smiled for the first time in months. "I never stopped."